have an insightful panel discussion on opportunity for startups, SMEs, innovators in defense and aerospace, featuring a distinguished lineup of experts: Lakshmi Das, co-founder, Prophaze; T Mathai, co-founder and CEO of iROV; Prakash, additional director, Director of Technology Development, DRDO, Ministry of Defence, Government of India; Group Captain Rohit Kaura, Col Prashant Sharma, Deputy Commander, 91 Infantry Brigade; Wing Commander Sanjeev Kumar, Operations HQ Southern Air Command, and the session will be moderated by Col Sanjeev Nair, Chief Executive Officer, Technopark. I would like to welcome our moderator, Col Sanjeev Nair, to the stage and our distinguished panelists to the stage to begin the discussion. Welcome you all.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. So we have got a bigger panel today, and we are nicely squeezed up in a cozy zone today. So we are super huddled in Huddle Global. And I strongly feel that, more than the comfort, we should be concerned about the content. So with that as a statement, I think we'll straight away go into today's theme. So the theme for the day is basically opportunities for startups, SMEs, innovators in defense and aerospace. And we have got a wonderful panel today. So if I have to categorize the complete panel, so we have got 6 members apart from me being the moderator. So there are 3 segments out here. So the first segment, I can categorize them as the facilitators. So we have got 2 arms of Ministry of Defense which pursue defense production. So one is Department of R&D, and the other one is Department of Defense Production. So we have got officials from both the places. So we have got Shri Prakash from TDF of DRDO, and we have Group Captain Kaura. He is the Program Director at iDEX. So I normally say that these 2 are siblings. I will tell you why they are called siblings later. And the second segment is basically the people from the armed forces who are like the nodal agency. They are the challenge owners who are supposed to throw challenges through these facilitators so that they get solution from the startup ecosystem. So we have got Col Prashant Sharma, who is the Deputy Commander of 91 Infantry Brigade. And we have got Wing Commander Sanjeev Kumar. He's from Air Force. He's from Southern Air Command. And the third segment, I can say they are the vibrant defense entrepreneurs. So we have got T Mathai. So he's the founder of iROV. And we have got Lakshmi Das. She's the founder of a company called as Prophaze. So we are having a very balanced, panelists out here. So before I, invite the speakers onto the stage, initially we thought, we'll have a panel discussion sort of a thing, but later we felt that, there are so much insight to be given by TDF and iDEX. So we will go in a sequence. They will be presenting their part as well. So to set the context initially, today is a great milestone day for Kerala because we just recently saw the launch of Kerala Defence Innovation Zone. And there is a reason why it has been done. When we talk from the national front, we talk a lot about, being self-reliant, Atmanirbharta, top-driven at the national level. And Kerala is one state which is digitally evolved and digitally empowered. And there are so many activities which are happening in our state. So I was part of iDEX earlier. So when I came over here, so the first thing that I observed was that the number of startups, though they are doing in multiple things in multiple domains, but focusing on defense and aerospace was on a lesser side. And there were very handful of startups who were venturing into defense and aerospace. So one of them happens to be iROV, who is here. So that's the time we felt that, okay, we need to evolve an ecosystem. So just to give you an history, we did an outreach session of DISC 9, that is Defense India Startup Challenge of iDEX, in Technopark in March last year. At that time, we had invited the then commander of 91 Brigade. He had visited us. And Lakshmi was a common factor there. She was part of the outreach session. After that, in the previous Huddle Global event, we had a similar outreach of Disk 10. And then we had this event called as S2A2I2, which I think Colonel Prashant will be highlighting also, wherein we took the industry inside the defense premises. So that was the time when we had given an outreach of Disk 11. And after that, we formally felt that we need to create an ecosystem which should connect all the stakeholders together. And that's how we had the launch of Kerala Defence Innovation Zone today. So, yeah, go to the slide. Yeah, you can just... Can you go to the slide? Yeah. So this is just one slide that I have got, just to set the context. So this was primarily being made to give a tremendous outreach to the startups, innovators out here in Kerala. So what we did was that initially we wanted to have an MOU with TDF and iDEX. So that was done today. So you can see on the on the edges of the circle, when we say MOD, both the entities have been tied up with Kerala Defence Innovation Zone. Then we have got Kerala-based startups which are already aligned with startup mission. Armed forces, we have got the presence of all the three formations in Kerala. We have got a army brigade out here, we have got an air command out here in Trivandrum, and we have got a naval command in Kochi. So that way we can always connect with armed forces people, because when we interact with startups, normally they have got an awe when they see the uniform. So we want to convey this point to all the startups who are there. This is a place, even armed forces need your help, because we are talking a lot about self-reliance and all. We want to lessen our imports. So this is one segment which you should always pitch in. And then we wanted to touch upon our own internal industries which are there. We have got IT parks, we have got defense park, we have got Kinfra park, we have got a space park. So that is the internal ecosystem which is there. We wanted to connect with them so that any startup is going to come up with solutions, even if they're looking for a bulk production or if they're looking for some collaboration prospects. So we have got a terrific industry which is there in Kerala. And then we wanted to connect with the academia, because those are the places from the budding innovators come. And in the academia, most of the places you have got the incubation cells, the TBAs, wherein you'll find small startups who are hooking onto those cells. So what it will enable is that for a scheme like iDEX and TDF, it gives a deeper penetration. And of course, there is a segment called as think tank and pool of consultants. This is another thing, because startups at times look for people who can give them some sort of a consultancy. So most of the formation headquarters have got a placement organization as well, and they have got a repository of ex-servicemen who are there in Kerala. In fact, they can access those people and possibly get good consultants, because the operational perspective can be set by those people. So that's why we wanted to connect this as well. And of course, investors are internal to startup mission. So that was the main idea, to evolve a Kerala Defence Innovation Zone. So what we are going to do is that we are going to create this ecosystem where we'll be hiring 1 or 2 people who will be connecting the dots initially, and then we will start expanding further. So I thought, before I call the speakers, this particular thing has to be conveyed to you. And with that, I will invite today's first speaker. So today's first speaker is Shri Ram Prakash. He is a scientist E and is working as additional director at TDF. And he has got more than 25 years of experience of R&D in DRDO. He holds a master's degree in computer science, and is an MBA from FMS Delhi. So he will be giving an insight about the scheme of TDF. So over to you, Mr. Ram Prakash.
So good afternoon, all of you. I will talk about TDF scheme. Technology Development Scheme is a scheme, it is executed by DRDO. The mandate was given to DRDO for execution, and the scheme is conceived by Ministry of Defence. This scheme was launched by our Honorable RM in 2016, and the first project was launched in 2018. So 2 years it took place to formulate the policies and guidelines. What we have in TDF, okay. So what we have in TDF scheme is, we provide funding Earlier it was 10 crore. Up to 10 crore we provide funding for the projects which were the requirements from our services. And then the second part of the scheme is we technical handhold by our scientists for these projects. And third thing is we want to develop an ecosystem for the defense startups. So that was the main motive of the conceive of this scheme, Technology Development Fund. So scheme, we have seen that lot of schemes have been announced by governments. But here the MOD has given a kind of enabler by listing the positive Indianization lists. These are the items which government has decided that it will not be procured from outside the country. It has to be developed within the country, and that too by the startups and MSMEs only. So the list of these startups, you can search the MOD site. I think srijandefensegov.in is the site where you can find the list of these items. So these items with the date, when up to what date they have to be indigenized in our country is written there. So interested defense startup can go there, and according to your technology in which you are working, you can develop or try to develop these products. This is a very good enabler. Until unless the opportunity is there, there is no way funding can do anything for these startups. Now, here you can see how TDF works. So this I have already explained. The chart of how TDF scheme was launched, was conceived in the budget and then launched, and till date we are already doing 78 projects which we have already given to different startups. So as far as TDF is concerned, we collate the requirement from our services, tri-services, Navy, Indian Air Force and Indian Army, and also from DRDO labs. Then we decide what is the price. I mean, it is up to 5 crore project, it is up to 10 crore project, or it is more than 10 crore projects. And then we do the technical holding by our scientists from different technological clusters of DRDO. We also, in this scheme, it is an opportunity for the startups and MSMEs to collaborate with academia. You can have one academia on your consortium. Also, you can have another startup. This scheme allows one startup and one academia to be as a part of consortium. So one can be a lead industry and other can be a small industry. And this is how this scheme works. Now, what is the purpose of this scheme? What kind of projects can be taken in the scheme? So here you can say the significant upgradation, if there is some upgradation, some improvement or further development is required, that project can become in the TDF scheme. If somebody wants to have increased their TRL levels, so suppose you are at TRL level 3 and you want to come with TRL level 8. 9 is the final product. So if you want to come to 8 and 9 TRL level, that project can also come into TDF scheme. And then the development of futuristic project. So this is the main thing, disruptive technologies and the development of futuristic product. This also we are getting from, this requirement also we are getting from services also and DRDO labs also. Other way is the indigenization. The important components are indigenized. If somebody wants to indigenize it, as I said, the indigenization list is already available in the decision side. Government of India is forcing that these products cannot be imported from the other countries. So that has to be indigenized. These indigenization projects also are coming under TDF scheme. So this scheme encourages public and private partnerships, and especially through MSME and startups. This is where earlier this scheme was limited to the cost of rupees 10 crore, and recently in the last year it has been enhanced to 50 crores. One more thing is the funding of, suppose government is funding 10 crore for a project, 90% of the funding is directly come from government. Only 10% that startup has to provide from themselves. And as I said, yearly the cost, R&D cost 25% of the R&D cost has to be given to these startups. They are earmarked for startups and MSMEs for funding the overall R&D project of Ministry of Defence. These are some insight of the scheme. Funding, I have already told you, it is up to 50 crores. What is the eligibility? Eligibility is the industry should be owned by and controlled by Indian resident. That is all. And the market share should be more than 51%. Collaboration, I have already explained you. And the duration for this is from 2 years to 24 months to 48 months. Maximum 48 months are allowed for the development of the technology. This is very important, the process flow of TDF scheme. Some slides I will be just quicking off, but this is the very important slide. We collate the requirement from our services and then identify the potential of projects. Then draft TPR is prepared. Then we get the feasibility done for this project. Then grant of acceptance of necessity, AON is given to these projects. And then the selection of expression of interest, EOI is been selected. And lastly, the selection of DA. And then we engage a PMG, that is called Project Monitoring and Mentoring Group. This PMG, we get it from DRDO laboratories. Scientists related to that particular field are engaged on that project. That is how hand-holding of the startup is being done. This is the structure of the TDF committee, the empowered committee that is chaired by, that is a topmost apex committee that is chaired by Secretary DD&D. All the 3 vice chiefs are the member of this apex committee. Our additional FA R&D DRDO and Secretary DDP is also the member of this high power committee. DGTM, our Director General Technology Management, is the member secretary, and Director TDF is the executive member of this committee. Then we have the technical committee. Most of the tasks are done by the technical committee. Our chairman of this technical committee is Director General Technology Management, and we have the reps from all the services. Then we have the lowest, the working level committee is the PMG, Project Monitoring and Mentoring Group. Here we have the members from all the services and scientists allotted from different DRDO labs. These are some of the benefits to the industries. One of them is the joint ownership of IPR along with DRDO. So most of the money is being released by Government of India. So in that, because of that money, we don't go to the equity sharing process. We only share the joint IPRs with the industry. And then the industry can direct channel of sales in the private marketplace. Suppose some technology is being developed and it is of dual use. So the industry can sell in the local market also. Maintenance, some projects are of this kind also. So ensuring life cycle support and maintenance of the technology. So they can go and with the partner and ensure the life cycle support for that technology. And next thing is the license of the product developed or the technology developed. What is the outcome? This is the outcome. We have almost 400 to 500 startups that are registered, which have taken bids in our technology development scheme. And this is our spectrum of industry who are doing projects with DRDO. These are, I will be just running through these slides because I have been given 8 to 10 minutes. These are some of the Indian Army projects which are being developed under TDF scheme. Next one is, these are some Indian Air Force projects which are currently being developed in this scheme. Next is, these are some Indian Navy projects, very good projects which are being developed through TDF scheme. These are some critical technologies. These LRUs are being developed, and all these requirements have been come from our Aeronautical Development Agency, Bangalore, ADA. So they are developing LRUs through technology development scheme. You know, one aircraft needs at least 3 lakh components to build. And you will be amazing to know that till now India is doing 50% of the component are being developed indigenously. So we are right at the right track. Now coming to Dare to Dream. Dare to Dream is an innovation contest. This is conceived by DRDO, executed by DRDO. And In this contest, only individual innovators and startup and MSc can participate. The challenge area or problems are thrown from DRDO technological clusters. They identify some 10 to 20 problems, and these problems are thrown as a challenge to these innovators. Till now, we have gone through fourth version of this, Dare to Dream 1, 2, 3, and 4. And recently, our Honorable RM had announced the launch of Dare to Dream 5. In a week or so, you will be getting these challenge areas in your local newspaper, national newspapers. So registrations will be open recently within a week or so. So one can apply in this. I will show you the Dare to Dream 5. This is the channel which challenge which will be launched, already launched, but registrations are not open yet because of some security audit pending in our website. So it will be open recently. The prize money will be 12 lakh, 6 lakh, 12 lakh, 10 lakh, and 8 lakh for startups and MSME. And for individual innovators, it is 6, 5, and 4 lakh first, second, and third prize respectively. So these are some of the challenges. These are challenges for individual category. I am not going one by one to these. 10 challenges are there for individual category, and 10 challenges are for startup and MSME categories. In both the categories, one challenge is kept open. That is the 10th one, open challenge, exploring the unthinkable and unimaginable. If you have done something, you have done any innovation which is useful for defense and aerospace, you can participate in this. Now these are the, some success story. I have already finished. Just slide is with him. He can share with you. These are some of the success stories of TDF. You can see this is the launch recently on the 18th October. Honorable RM has launched and facilitate the Dare to Dream 4 awardees also. You can see all the awardees have been given award certificate by Honorable RM. This is a great motivation for innovators and startups. These are the handover of successful technologies developed by our startups and MSMEs. Just trying to show you some of the photographs. These are some deep tech. This is also launched by Honorable RM on the same day. Some 5 projects for deep tech. These are available on DRDO website. If you want, you can apply on these projects. DRDO TDF is also available on public domain. So you can follow TDF_DRDO. So you will get all the information related to TDF. This is our small team of TDF situated at DRDO Bhavan, New Delhi. That's all from my side. Jai Hind.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Sri Prakash. That's why I said they are the elder sibling because they have got a terrific funding. They give 50 crores. And all the challenges that they launch, they are quite intricate challenges. So that's why I call them the elder sibling. Now moving on to the younger one, which is DIO iDEX, because they believe in fast track prototyping. So we have Group Captain Rohit Kaura. He's a seasoned aerospace and defense veteran with more than 30 years of expertise in aeronautical engineering. He's the program director at iDEX. So over to you, Group Captain Kaura.
Hello. Thank you, Colonel Nair, for introducing me and my fellow panelists. And thank you, Ekamuru sir. And thank you, my brother officers in uniform and ladies and gentlemen. So iDEX, it's an acronym. It stands for Innovation for Defense Excellence. And in my next 10 to 12 minutes, I'll be walking you through the journey about iDEX origin, what are our, what we do, how are we engaged in nation building, and what are some of our key highlights of the iDEX program. For the young startups here, primarily I'm here to give you an outreach session of what iDEX has been doing and what it is planning to do in future. So for any nation, like always relying on import has always been a challenge, and definitely these 2 wars have taught us nothing much more than, depending on import is a fallacy, and you will just not be able to be at a technological upside for your adversaries. So iDEX was always planted with that objective, that to develop homegrown technologies, so that you have the technologies being developed and designed at India and for the armed forces. So they can always be scaled up, or they can always be tweaked for the requirements. Yeah, so one way to define what iDEX is, we are a venture capitalist for the startup, but that's a very rudimentary way of defining. We do provide the seed money to these startups. However, we do provide much more input to than just providing the seed money. We bring in the mentorship, we bring in the processes for the startups to engage with the services primarily, and how their product get introduced into the armed forces. And subsequently, we do hand-holding the startups for getting orders so that they have their visible business plan. So I'll just walk through the journey. I just bring out the salient features of what iDEX is about. Yeah, so the framework for what iDEX is dependent on the 5 frameworks, which are the 5 I's. I would like to a little bit highlight on the 5 I's. Primarily, they are the identify, innovate, incubate, integrate, and indigenize. So identifying the problem areas or the technological gap or the capability gap is done by the services, and they are always mapping their emerging threats. Based on that, the problem statements are defined by the services and thrown upon to the defense ecosystem, that is the startups, to provide solutions to that. So this is where we come with the innovation part. So this is where the startups innovate to provide solutions to the technological challenges. And some of the challenges do have included in the new age technologies like the AI, the drones, the advanced new materials also. What iDEX brings on the table is you incubate those startups. So we provide not only the seed money, we provide them with the mentorship, we provide them with access to the services, access them to the certain technological labs where they can do their testing of their product. And all this is done through a mechanism known as Spark Grant, which I'll be talking about subsequently. And then when the product is seen to some phase of already a prototype is developed, it goes through the various phases of trials and testing. This is where the startup gets very actively involved with the with the services for getting their product defense qualified. So this is where the difference between a normal B2C startup and a defense startup, where the qualification of the product is very important, because the services do have a very high regulatory framework, and a product to be introduced has to go through this journey. So this is very crucial phase, which is also another part, which I explained is the integration, and the last which is finally culminating into the indigenization of the product, and it gets firm orders in terms of minimum order quantities. That's the journey of the product has taken place. I'll do it. So here, what I intend to show to you is a journey of a startup in our ecosystem. So primarily, we once the problem statement, after being thrown to the defense startups, a winner is declared, and he is assured of a grant up to 25 crore presently, which is for the Aditi schemes. It is a new scheme which was launched in 2024 by our Honorable Raksha Mantri. And we do have grant up to the basic program, which is the DISC program, which is up to 1.5 crore. And here we, with our DIO team, which is we are a very young team of veterans and young team of young engineers as well as youth with us who work with the startups in ensuring that the journey of the startup is done, and subsequently when the product is developed into some prototype, then the access to the laboratories, the testing facilities is provided. And during this journey also, we have a very important element which we call them as the partner incubators. So they are the ones who do the handholding of the startups right from the application process till the culmination of the product, introduction of the product in the services. So we do have, in Kerala, we have the Makers India Village as one of the partner incubators. If they are here, they are very, very, very welcome. I would like to meet them. We have about 28 partner incubators across the pan-India presently. And they not only provide the mentorship, they provide a lot of technical know-how also to the startups in their journey. And also a lot of outreach events and opportunities are being undertaken by them. This slide I had already discussed about the 5 I's: identify, innovate, incubate, integrate, and indigenize. Some of the numbers which are coming out very important was iDEX was launched in 2018, and we do have a structure which is, it's a 2-tier structure, which is at the apex level we have the Defence Innovation Organization. Primarily it's a Section 8 company, and it was infused with funds from HAL and Bell, each bringing in 50 crores. So about 100 crores was given as a funding amount for helping the ecosystem, defense ecosystem. And we have the another layer is the iDEX framework, iDEX team, which works in executing this particular scheme. And as on date, we have about 570 startups till date who are engaged with us, including the MSMEs. And we have developed product at iDEX. The products have been developed close to about 40 AONs have been granted, worth about 2,300 crores. So just a ratio I want to bring out, like what the space was bringing about, for every $1 invested is $2.54 is the coming out from iDEX. If you look at the figure, is something similar. We are committed to 400 crores, and already we have 2,400 crores worth of orders. So it's really high, 1:6, I could say. So it's a really success story. I see, and definitely I see these numbers going much more higher in times to come. So over close to...
We'll have to wind off in a minute or so.
Yeah. This is the iDEX process which I have briefly brought out, is the launch of the problem statement in the form of either a DISC or a Aditi challenge. Aditi are the ones which are 25 crore funding is provided, and shortlisting of the startups take place through a high-powered selection committee, and then the announcement of winners, and then we integrate them into the ecosystem by signing a contract. So as I was saying, 370 contracts. We have done this process for close to 370 people. This journey, which I have just mapped out, is a journey from 2018 till date. We are into the 13th edition of DISC we have launched, and we have launched 3 editions of Aditi, AC for development of this is a 25 crore scheme, and DISC. We also launch open challenges also. There's another route for startups to engage with us. In case if you find you have some challenges which are not being listed by the services, but you do feel solution for a technological gap, you can apply to iDEX through open challenge route also. Those are also in large numbers, and we do curate them and select startups in those schemes also. Yeah, so the skin in the game is it's not only funding from our side, it's from the startup also. They need to bring in their matching contribution. So if it is a 1.5 crore funding, they need to also bring in their amount as a matching contribution. And there are some challenges in this. I feel some of the early stage startups do struggle So we do have provided them another facility. We have tied up with various banks to provide as investor hubs. So our startups can approach them. They can get soft loans or at a very lower interest for our iDEX winners. Another important point I want to bring out for the audience is the IP rights. Somebody was asking who rests with this IP rests with whom? The IP for the developed product rests with the developer, not with us. So this is something there is, while giving you the seed money also, we have not taken any equity from you, as well as when you have developed the product, the IP right rests with you. However, there are certain checks and balances we have put in. You can't trade this IP with a foreign vendor. The government can invoke in case if you're not scaling up the product, you developed IP, the government can invoke its right for internal consumption. But these are just checks and balances. Primarily, the IP rests totally with the developer here. I just explained this high-powered committee. There's another committee, another unit, which is a project management unit. It's very important during the design phase. So it's not a project officer dealing from iDEX with the startup. It's a whole team is engaged with them. So we have groups like Army, Navy, Air Force, Space. So we have a project teams for management team for each group, and that is engaged very actively to offer solutions in case if the startup is facing any challenges. Yeah. So one of the major reforms with the startups were coming ki how after prototype, what we do next, how do we be in the business. So this was a major amendment to the defense acquisition procedure was done, which was done in 2024, primarily where the four major concerns. One was there was a minimum order quantity coming for every iDEX winner. He had a vision not only for the prototype, he had a vision like he's getting a business sense with his VC, with his team. What is the business plan for further after he has developed this prototype? So this minimum order quantities, in fact, we have with EyeROV, head is here. He's also one of the person who's benefited from this. He's got they're likely to get the orders very soon. So they have designed and developed a product, and it's a kind of good quantities, and that makes a business sense. What we call it a minimum assured quantity. Also, the eligibility criteria for the startups have been greatly reduced. You can just imagine how regulatory for a company, regulatory frameworks are there for a defense company to enter. But we have eased out these restrictions for the defense startups, iDEX, especially winners. Also, relaxed in the liquidation damages as well as the performance guarantees. So there are no performance guarantees required to be given by the startup for the capital route. So these are the major ones. Our ecosystem, I'll just wrap in 2 minutes. The ecosystems are primarily, as I brought out, 28 program incubators are there. They are the ones who handhold the startups along with us. And in Kerala, we have the Maker India Village. And some of the investor hub, which I was talking about, are listed, the venture capitalists, the banks, which we have done the MOUs, and they're committed to provide close to 500 crores for the matching contribution. Some of the key highlights here, we have engaged with 25 nodal agencies. It is not only Indian Army, Indian Navy, Indian Air Force. We have all the DPSUs and some of the MHA organization also as our users who are committed to take products from the iDEX winners. We have, as on date, 574 contracts running. Some of them have completed the milestones, which they have finished with the design and development. They are now into the advanced, they're getting new procurement orders from the services. I would, like this was the first edition of Aditi 1.0 in DEF Connect, which was launched in March. And this is where we see the winners of the iDEX 1.0 declared in the last DEF Connect 4.0, which happened in September. So these are some numbers which are basically we have close to 10,000 applications till date we have received, And if you see, when before iDEX was born, we had about just less than 50 was our defense startups. Today we have close to 3,000. So this is what the impact iDEX has done pan-India. And these numbers are growing leaps and bounds.
I think we can
I'll
take
just wrap
questions
it
at the
in
end.
1 minute. Yeah, last, this is the slide which we got the Prime Minister Award thing. And I think so. I'll wrap it up. I can keep continuing talking. I can meet you in person after the session for people to engage with me. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so it's basically a very passionate topic when it comes to TDF and iDEX. So we have time constraints, so that's why I had to pitch in between. So now we have got, officials from the armed forces, so they will be giving the user perspective. So first we have got Col Prashant Sharma. He's a Deputy Commander of 91 Brigade. He's from the Jat Regiment of Indian Army and is an alumni of Indian Military Academy, and the officer happens to be an instructor at Commando School, Belgaum. So over to you, Col Prashant. You can talk about the Defence Academia Industry Connect that you have seen in Pangot Brigade.
Good afternoon, everybody. Am I audible at the last? Yeah, thank you. At the onset, let me first thank Col Sanjeev Nair and the team of organizers for organizing this wonderful startup seminar. It is, in fact, an honor for all of us to be part of this conference wherein the academia, innovators, and the entrepreneurs have come together under one roof to find out the opportunities which the armed forces and the aerospace industry can offer to them. Over the next 5 to 10 minutes, I'll just cover the importance of a connect between the armed forces, the industry, and the academia per se. To cover this topic, I'll just briefly cover in 3 parts. What is the importance of having a connection between these agencies? Second is the broad policy which the Government of India has taken and the service headquarters have initiated the steps. And lastly, I'll cover the success story which we just recently had in the Kerala state. Taking the cue from the Prime Minister of India's vision, the armed forces of India are committed towards the Atmanirbhar Bharat goal, wherein indigenization to modernization is our guiding mantra. Recently, there has been a technological advancements which have taken place world over, which has disrupted the warfare which is being fought. Presently, the security setup in the world is in a state of flux. This is primarily due to the transformative technological advancement which has taken place and has opened up new domains of warfare. Primarily, to name the few of them, are the use of artificial intelligence in the modern warfare, as also the drone warfare, cyber space, as well as cognitive warfare. These are just few of the examples and the challenges which the armed forces are experiencing, which requires them to change their strategies, how the war is being fought. This also lays down a caution on the armed forces to upgrade their technological capabilities for the future warfare. The conflict in the world over nowadays have taught the countries to have a whole nation approach, wherein for a country like India, indigenization is not an option, but a necessity, so as to reduce our dependency on import of technology and equipment from abroad due to the obvious reasons. Hence, the indigenization of the industry basically gives you a national sense of national security. And this is where the entrepreneurs like you and the academia are playing a key role, and which is applaudable. To this end, the Government of India has also taken large number of steps to incentivize the indigenization and Make in India projects. My 2 speakers who were prior to me have spoken in length, wherein these 2 organizations have been set at the highest level to incentivize the entrepreneurs like you. In addition to this, the Government of India has also recently changed a lot of policy decisions, wherein 5 indigenization lists have been promulgated comprising of 411 items which are required to be produced indigenously. In addition to this, the Government of India, through the public procurement, is also incentivizing the Make in India companies through both capital as well as revenue projects. This is just tip of the iceberg which the policy changes which the Government of India has done in the recent past. In addition, the Government of India has also shown its commitment by according acceptance of necessity to approximately 2 lakh crore rupees of projects under Make in India scheme, which is there in last 2 years. We have a defense budget, which is approximately around 2.2 lakh crore rupees, out of which 1.1 lakh crore rupees has been reserved for research and development. The government aims to achieve a target of around 50,000 crore rupees in the near future for export of items to the various countries. In addition, over the next 5 years, there are projects worth rupees around 10 lakh crore rupees which are in pipeline under the indigenization scheme which the Government of India is offering. These figures are just few of the testaments which the Government of India's commitment towards indigenization and Make in India project is concerned. What the Government of India is doing, there's a service headquarters also have been contributing towards this end. For Army, we have organization by the name of Army Design Bureau, which actually is a nodal agency to act as an interface between the Army and the industry. Under the Army Design Bureau, we have regional technological nodes which are there in each command. These nodes are meant to scan and scout the local industry for the technology which they can offer for the defense sector which is there, as also act as a one-point window for any issues related to this. Taking cue from what is happening at the Army headquarters, the Pangod military station at the regional place has recently, just last year only, this year, March, we had organized our Southern Star Army Academia Industry Interface Defense Symposium, which was a 2-day defense symposium which was organized at Pangod military station, wherein large number of local industry partnerships had participated. This was basically done to showcase and identify the industries which can contribute towards our common goal. One of the positive outcomes of this defense symposium was a close association which we have had with the recently with the Digital University of Kerala, wherein the Army and the Digital University of Kerala has developed a drone-based ID and mine detection system. This drone-based and mine identification system scans the given area and transmits the data in the virtual time, thereby assisting us in neutralizing these IDs and mines safely and prevent a loss of life to a soldier. This innovative design has an application not only in the armed forces, but also has application in the law enforcement agencies world over. This is one of the success stories which we had recently, and I think this is something which I need to share with you all. Lastly, I'll just say, if you want to run fast, you have to go alone. But if you want to go further, you have to go together. And it is time that we all pitch in our level best as academia, defense industries, and the innovators and the entrepreneurs to ensure that our country becomes self-reliant in defense industry. Thank you, and Jai Hind.
Yeah, thanks, Colonel Prashant. You had set the tone right, because that event of S2A2 I2 actually broke the barriers. It was a terrific ice breaking then. Over to the next speaker from Air Force Wing Commander Sanjeev Kumar. He's a fighter pilot in Indian Air Force and he has more than 1500 hours of experience flying aircraft like Kiran, Hawk and Jaguar. So over to you, Sanjeev. We want to know your perspective as well.
Thank you, sir. There's been a lot been talked about the framework that is available for the entrepreneurs and for the innovators. Now it is my turn to just tell you what a user wants. So Indian Air Force, we are the prime users of all the tech that is being developed in-house or outside our country, as our core competency is fueled by technological advancements. Since the spectrum of equipment that defense uses is so large, there's a lot of opportunities for innovators and entrepreneurs to get your ideas in and innovate. In military, when we use equipment, we often feel that we are not able to cope up with the existing technology and the pace at which the technology is evolving. And we always feel that our equipment is becoming obsolescent. So therefore, the first question that arises for the innovators and everybody involved in this industry is, do you understand the requirements? Do you understand our QRs that we put up to you? Do you understand the environment that we fight in? So therefore, it is not necessary that you have to understand the art of war fighting, but you have to understand the way we want it in the right place, in the right way. So with this, I would say there's a huge lot of opportunities that is available, the kind of requirements that we have, and therefore Indian Air Force has been actively seeking innovative solutions from startups, subject matter experts and entrepreneurs. Now I would go from a broader perspective to a zoomed in perspective. So some key broad areas that I would like to highlight wherein there lies a lot of opportunities for the innovators. The first is building unmanned aerial vehicles. The technology of aviation is changing in such a drastic way that tomorrow we might not find fighter pilots like us, and it will all be UAVs and MUMTs. It can be used in multiple spectrums of warfare like surveillance and reconnaissance, making of delivery systems, usage of electronic warfare. There's a lot been talked about artificial intelligence and machine learning, so I'll not be commenting upon it. There are a lot of opportunity of development of advanced materials and nanotechnology. In aviation, we require a lot of lightweight materials, high strength material to develop aircraft components, improve fuel efficiency, improve the combat efficiency of the aircraft. There's also a requirement of nanotechnology-based coatings from which we can enhance the durability of the aircraft, the corrosive resistance, the stealth capabilities can be built up. Cybersecurity also forms a very critical requirement of Indian Air Force as we form a network-centric, we are going to fight a network-centric warfare tomorrow. So therefore, we need to have a robust data security measures to safeguard our sensitive information, safeguard our networks from cyber threats. In the field of space, Indian Air Force, anything which is beyond ground is with the Air Force, from air to sky to exosphere. So therefore, development of advanced satellite communication systems is a great field for secure and reliable communication. Surveillance and image intelligence forms a great part of our operations wherein we lack a lot of core competency, we lack a lot of equipment, wherein I would request the innovators and the minds to work and develop some equipments. And if we zoom into the system, very basic requirements of military, I would quote very few examples because the spectrum is huge and it can range from, I may go on for 30 minutes or so if I start quoting them. So I'll give you very few examples like inflatable decoys. If you understand inflatable decoys, decoys are something which are meant to disrupt or meant to imitate military equipment like a radar or a missile firing units, which can imitate the infrared signature, visual signature, or the radar signature to have an effective camouflage and misguide the enemy weapons. If you see China or any other country which are developing these equipment, they have been able to develop this equipment quite well. And the next system that I would like to tell you about is swarm drone systems. We are all well read in how it can change the nature of warfare that is we are getting into. Development of encrypted radio communication equipment. There are a lot of aircraft support vehicles that we need in the Air Force we use. There are thousands and thousands of systems. We have equipment from Western Fleet to Russian systems. There are different variety of systems that we have in our services which can be made in-house. However, we need to procure it from outside. If you zoom further into a smaller scale, if you go further into looking into smaller items, it is not always the bigger items that military wants. There's a very beautiful book that has been posted on Indian Air Force website which talks about indigenization for innovation. It projects the requirement of Indian Air Force from smaller equipment like voltage regulators, electrical actuators, AC regulation units, headsets, auxiliary power units, and multi-domain units which range from electrical to mechanical to avionics requirement. It is a 218-page document which has more than 500 equipment and very small electrical items which we wanted to be made in-house, which is not available. So therefore, while there are huge opportunities and ecosystem given by the system, there are various agencies that are also involved in the certification process, which is slightly complicated. So for the information of our innovators and startups, I would try and highlight a few. There are certain guidelines that you should definitely go through, which are security clearances. Since the matter is of national security and sensitive information is being transferred to you for innovation, rigorous background checks will be done. Intellectual protection, IP protection is already been talked about. This quality assurance and standards are very high, which has been set by the government and the armed forces. And you need to have a robust quality management system to ensure product quality and consistency. There are a lot of financial regulations. There are ethical and legal compliances that needs to be complied to. And there are a lot of cyber security measures that to protect the sensitive information that you're likely to handle. So the question is, how do you stay informed and compliant? The ways are engage with defense organizations, consult legal experts, consult field experts. If you see, the first thing I talked about is understanding the QRs. So if you don't consult the right person who has been in the field, who understands the requirement well, you will still be venturing into the world of unknown, and you will try and make a thing which might not be feasible.
Yes, Sanjeev, I think we are running short of time.
30 seconds.
Yeah, okay.
So just a few last pointers. Military equipment face a lot of constraints like size, weight, durability, hazards, and most importantly, obsolescence. So the equipment that you develop might be as per the QRs, but it might not be suitable for usage at times. Therefore, you need to reiterate and take specialist opinions, and more importantly, an idea looking into the future may lead you to the place where you want to be.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks, Sanjeev, for giving that user perspective. In fact, there is no other panel which is waiting after this, because after this it's a lunch time, so that's why we have got that liberty to have a little more time with us. So now we want to take the input from the most important segment, the vibrant startup ecosystem, which we say that they are the future defense entrepreneurs. So the first person to speak is John Mathai, and I need to introduce him because he's the poster boy of both the schemes. You talk about iDEX or TDF, so he's a winner in both the schemes. And if you look at his credentials, so he's the CEO of EyeROV, a pioneering marine robotics company headquartered in Kochi. He holds a master's degree in computer technology from IIT Delhi, and he's a bachelor's from College of Engineering, Trivandrum. And he has got umpteen number of awards, which TDF was mentioning about Dare to Dream Award. He's a recipient of that. He's a winner of National Startup Award 2021. He's got recognition by TDB, Department of Science and Technology. So there is numerous, credits to his credentials. So it would be nice to hear from him, the poster boy of iDEX and TDF. Over to you, John. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. So I'll cover my talk on 3 areas. One is EyeROV journey. Second is on what a startup should probably, if you are venturing into the defense space, what you should probably keep in mind. And third is on what as a startup we expect from the facilitators or the users or the ecosystem actually. So I'll brief about our company. We are a marine robotics company. We build unmanned systems predominantly into the marine sector. We build underwater drones, or called as remotely operated vehicle, which can go up to a depth of 300 meters, do surveillance, inspections, and do mild intervention. And we have been, we started the company back in 2017, and we do work in various sectors, including defense, oil and gas, infrastructures, multiple sectors we do work in. We are a team of close to now 40. We work in India, Middle East, as well as in Europe. And coming to the defense sector, our first breakthrough came from DRDO NP oil, where we supplied our first unit back in 2018. And then subsequently, we supplied our underwater remotely operated vehicles also to NSTL, also to Indian Coast Guard in Andaman Nicobar Islands. So this has been our product supply journey. Apart from that, as Sir said, we are also winners of the iDEX Defense Startup Challenge, Sprint 7, development of underwater vehicles. We were awarded the contract in 2022. We completed the project couple of months back, I would say precisely about March, April timeframe. We completed the SSCT composite, single stage composite trials, and the project was completed. We completed the iDEX, and then subsequently the RFQ was floated by Navy, and we had completed all the stages of even the CNC commercial negotiation is over, and we are awaiting the agreement to finalize the order, and we would be supplying X number of units in the next 12 months. So it has been a success story for us with iDEX till now. And also to tell you that we are now replacing a foreign product which has been already used by the forces, which is much more advanced and has been, and not from our side, then the Navy itself has said that after the trials, the product is much better than the foreign product which they are currently using, which is adding more value addition. And the naval forces have said that we would be promoted to other foreign nations for export of the product as well. And last, we have been recently winners of the TDF project as well. We are very closely working with one of the DRDO labs through TDF. And very soon, it is in the early stages. We are in the milestone 1 stage, and we are hoping to complete the project in another 12 to 18 months. So the second part, what are my learnings or experience working in the defense space? As I said, I work in multiple industries. This is for startups who want to venture into the space. This is my experience. I could be also wrong, and the experience could be different for many startups. So defense is, you have to be very patient. It is a long-term game. So it might take 2 to 4 years, maybe 5 years to materialize from the product development stage to a final delivery and contract, and finally getting money in your bank. So it is a long-term game. So the second point is you need to have sufficient capital and funding to sustain through the years. So either you have to go through a funding, or you have to have simultaneous revenue streams to sustain. Third is, as Sir was telling, you have to work very closely with the forces. You develop something which doesn't actually meets the requirement. You have to be at the field. You have to be at the real situation. So for us, we have 3 trials. One is a swimming pool trials. We had an open pool trial, I would say, quarry trials. Then we have a sea trials where we were taken on a vessel, and we went to the sea, and we deployed our vehicle 365 meters underwater. You will never get a chance to test your equipment. One of the vessels was available for us to test the equipment actually. And you don't get these chances thanks to iDEX for through this opportunity where we were able to validate our equipment. So you have to work very closely with the forces. So the person we worked with was a person who earlier used similar kind of equipments in the forces actually. So as I said, you have to meet the QR, you have to first, you make the PSQRs first, and then you have to match and qualify the QRs. QRs is qualitative requirements as per the specification. Fourth point is the product has to be best in the world, not best in India. Forces always benchmark with the solutions which are the best in the world. They don't compare with which can meet temporary or best in India. So always is compared with a solution which is in the best in the world. So you have to, irrespective of what are the QR, you have to always benchmark with the best in the world. And also for you, it is best that you will be able to sell to the world, because you don't want to sell to India. You just want to sell to the world. That should be your aim actually. And last, the rewards which comes in the defense space is much bigger. You are not talking about few 1, 2, 3 crores of orders. The orders are in much bigger size. It could be tens, 100 crores of orders coming in defense. If you wait, you have the patience. So that has been our experience. I've seen companies which have been doing 15, 20 crores annually, suddenly jumping to 200, 500 crore turnover companies. So some of them are listed in stock. So you can check that. So that is, you can leapfrog suddenly from a small company to a big company when you are in the defense space. So that is opportunity which in the defense space. So the last area I want to cover is what as a startup we expect from the ecosystem in terms of facilitators, users. This was said by, again, the forces, one of the forces team member itself. Startups or MSMEs has to be considered as a partners, not as vendors. So it has to be a supportive ecosystem. We need hand-holding because we're going through this process first time. All this going through Semilac or mill-grade certification takes a lot of time. So we would need hand-holding. Second, of course, is one of the things which are lacking. We have a lot of funding for the software startups. We need a lot of VC funding in terms of probably few crores of funding, 25, 50, 100 crores of funding in this space to scale up. We are not looking at smaller companies. We need to build probably $1 billion company in the defense space actually. Third is we need to work fast. So we need to work on, because startups will not have a lot of I would say runway. So we need to put certain timelines. I think iDEX have put a good framework that they put everything on a dashboard, and then that dashboard gives you a certain timelines where we are actually. So we all need to work together as a team to ensure that timelines are very critical in terms of requirement freezing or testing. Everything has to work in a faster manner rather than the conventional timelines we do, without having said that, without compromising on the quality. And last thing, fourth point is assurance of minimum order quantity, which iDEX is now doing. It is a very good initiative. Whatever we develop for defense has to be given some assurance of minimum order quantity, which gives a lot of confidence for us to develop the product. And last point is working capital needs when it comes. I think SIDBI and few of the organizations are now venturing, but there is still a lot of I would say inputs and efforts need to be put in that working capital. When you get a 50, 100, 200 crores of order, startups find it hard to execute because you don't give much of capital. And iDEX has some now 15% advance, but I would say this is one area. So these are my areas of suggestions on all the sectors. And last, I think some of them are already being taken by few of these facilitators, but I see there could be a lot things can be done. So my concluding remark, let us all work together to make a self-reliant defense ecosystem in the country. And thank you, Jai Hind.
Yeah, thanks, John. Very rightly brought out whatever the learnings that he has got, because schemes like iDEX and TDF, they are actually, they do co-creation and co-development process. There is terrific level of hand-holding, and that's how we get winners like, EyeROV. So thanks, John, for that. And so today we have the last speaker, and she is the only lady in the entire panel. So you don't worry about the time aspect, okay? You have got that liberty. So Lakshmi happened to be, in many of my outreach sessions, she was my fellow panelist as well. So she's the co-founder of Prophaze, and she has got 14 years of experience in DevOps, and she has successfully navigated diverse industries like banking, healthcare, cybersecurity, and more. So her forte is actually cybersecurity, and she has done her master's in cybersecurity from MIT. So over to you, Lakshmi, now.
Thank you. Am I allowed to use the laptop? So a very good afternoon to one and all. First of all, thank you for inviting me to be a part of this esteemed panel. I'm extremely privileged. And so this is the second time I'm addressing a defense ecosystem. First one was, the Southern Star Academy at the Pangod Military Station. So there I had started off by saluting, all our brothers and sisters who are actually securing our physical borders from all kinds of, in all extreme climatic conditions and diverse situations. So first of all, salute to all of you. It's a great privilege to be actually safeguarded, with the might of your people being there at our borders. So let me introduce myself. I'm sure there was already an introduction. So basically, we are a cybersecurity product company that started off from Kerala, being headquartered in Kerala, which was like a road less traveled, because companies like ours are usually, they start off being headquartered in Silicon Valley, or Israel is one of the most famous for cybersecurity, where they get a lot of support from the military, their government, for doing a lot of innovations in that area. So this is the area where we have started off in, and we are proud to have started off from India. Let me talk about, the evolving threat landscape. So first of all, what is it that happens before starting off a physical warfare? First and foremost thing that every rival country would try to do is launch a cyber warfare, wherein they can bring down the critical infrastructure of their opponent country by breaking down their power grids and essential supplies. Zero-day vulnerabilities are part of all the ecosystem, which is unaware by the vendors. But the cyber criminals are always eyeing on these vulnerabilities, and they always try to get their hands on these kind of vulnerabilities. AI-driven cyber warfare is becoming one of the most prominent things across the globe. And this is where we have to be strong and defensive against. Ransomware attacks are happening around us. We've been seeing one of our most reputed hospitals also being, a victim of ransomware attack. So this is where we have to safeguard, the cyber security. We have to strengthen our cyber security strategies against these kind of attacks so that it doesn't affect our data security as well as financial integrity. So this all calls for the need of an enhanced cyber security measure. When you talk about military and armed forces, what is the most important thing when we all, look into it? First and foremost is safeguarding the military communication network, because it becomes very important for, the military individual units to communicate among themselves. And if there is an intrusion in between, it leaks the most sensitive data regarding the military operations and communication. So this is a very, diverse situation. Another thing is securing the command control system. A military command control system is supposed to be the backbone of any military operations. And if somebody is allowed to intercept into that, that becomes a very bad thing for the entire military system. And this is something that we have to safeguard against. Another thing that is used for global communication among the military operations is, the satellites that are used for the global communication. So protecting these satellites also from any kind of cyber intrusion or a spamming or a jamming kind of system is something that is really required, so that none of the communications are interrupted at any point of time. We all use GPS. At military also, this becomes a very crucial factor. So this is used when, for all the navigation and timing, to always integrate and cooperate and coordinate any kind of military operations. So if this has been interrupted, that becomes a big adversity. So this is where we also need to have a parallel, a navigation system if at all there is a disruption or a failure. Now talking about a cyber defense strategy. So always there should be a balance between offensive and defensive cybersecurity strategies. So the defensive strategy is wherein we all kind of use some kind of cybersecurity tools or systems in place so that it safeguards all your sensitive data. But offensive cybersecurity strategy is wherein you attack your adversaries back. So there needs to be a proper balance between, it's all similar to the normal warfare that is actually followed. We also need to have a collaborative approach between allied nations wherein threat intelligence is actually shared, because an attack that can happen across another part of the globe can also be launched against your country. So between allied nations, it is very important to have some kind of collaborative strategy wherein they all work together towards a unified cybersecurity defense approach. All of this caters to the importance of a cybersecurity defense strategy which can form the backbone of national security. Always, technology is always going ahead of time, and we always have to be, as a cybersecurity company, we are asked to be one step ahead of technology in terms of defending against advanced cybersecurity attacks. So this is where the need for next-gen cybersecurity tools actually come into picture, where they use advanced AI and ML methodologies to detect using the behavioral tactics of the cyber criminal. And also we have to transition to zero trust architecture where nobody is trusted. Without proper authentication and authorization, nobody is allowed to get into a network. Another thing that I would want to stress upon is public-private partnership, wherein there are a lot of innovative products among the startups and the private organizations of our country, which can be leveraged by our military systems so that they do not have to reinvent the wheel once again. Instead, use the already existing systems which are already being commercialized. So this can be used as a dual technology, wherein any software that is used in both civilian, it can also be used for military operations as well. So this can foster innovation between the government and the private entities. Also, it also reduces the financial burden on the government, because the private entity contributes to half of the or more than that of the cost involved in developing that software. This would also ensure strengthening cyber resilience. We all know what are the two major technologies that are trending these days. Can anybody say, along with all the AI and MLs, what is one of the most dominating technology these days that is posing a big threat, even as well as it's always aid also? Anybody, any guesses? Quantum. So, drones. Yes, definitely. Drones are always very important in terms of defense strategies, and that is another area which also is required to be, anybody can hijack your drones, and that can be used for other malicious purposes. This is where we need to actually have security in place. What I wanted to stress upon was quantum computing. Okay, I guess he was talking about that. So quantum computing is a double-edged sword, similar to AI. It can also be used by our adversaries to launch sophisticated attacks in actually breaking all our cryptographic technologies, but that is where we need to stay one step ahead. There are also rise of autonomous AI threats. So without even any human being being involved, cyber threats have been launched from some part of the world every now and then. So this is where we have to stay alert. Cybersecurity strategies of any country or any organization has to keep evolving day by day, and there should be a collaboration, as all my respected panelists were talking about, a collaboration between the startups, the academia, and the military, so that we can have a unified security measure in place. Now, to just give you a gist about how Prophaze has been instrumental in actually contributing to the defense strategy. So we were privileged to be part of the first cybersecurity cohort by Atoll Innovation Mission. And as a part of the demo day, we were the only startup that got selected for a pilot in NIC. But unfortunately, after the pilot, it did not move forward. That is where we actually faced fierce competition from international products. Because the standards that, unfortunately in India, we have been, as my respected panel members told, we have been depending on imports of all these kind of security softwares, which we never know. They could have a backdoor. The US or the Australia products, we never know what kind of, backdoor is there. So this is where we need to build our own indigenous solutions to secure our own data within our country so that the telemetry will never go out of the country. This is what we are actually working towards. So I would urge or request the government and the military forces to actually, give more opportunities for, the startups, wherein we can actually collaborate with you. And we were also part of the TDF and iDEX. So fortunately, our iDEX, the challenge, we were supposed to secure the air gap network. So that was circulated among various units at the defense, and we were selected to implement it at, the Sena Bhavan. So we were asked to, be a part of a complete security strategy, implementing into the existing security system so that we could, help stop the intrusion between lateral entry of any kind of malicious attacks, and also to implement strict access controls. And we were also able to successfully implement on-premise AI systems so that it can predict and detect and avoid any kind of cyber threats. So that is how we were actually instrumental. And there was another incident where we could actually be, for use for the country when there was a major cybersecurity attack against all major airports and the medical hospitals of our country. So that is where we as a company from India could actually outsmart even the global, global major giants by safeguarding the airports from a major DDoS attack which was launched by a group called Anonymous Sudan. So this is where...
And the 1 minute?
Yes, I'm winding up. Yeah, so this is where we could showcase that we are no way lesser compared to any other country in terms of the, the brain power that we have and the human power that we have. And that is what we have to leverage, and also only depend on the indigenous solution, go forward with the Make in India concepts, and kind of try to reduce the dependency on all, on any other solutions from being imported from any other country. So let's all put together our wholehearted efforts. As my esteemed panel member said, if we travel together, we can travel far. So with that, I would like to conclude. So thank you all for being patient enough. I know I was standing between all of you and lunch, but thank you for being patient, and thank you all for giving me the opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, Lakshmi. So we are done with the complete panel discussion today. And in fact, we had a larger panel and everybody had to speak. So I think it extended beyond the time limit. But thank you. I should convey my thanks for being patiently waiting and listening to what we have been speaking. So before we close, I just want to say that what we have spoken now, what we have discussed now, it is all related to opportunities for startups to explore this particular domain of defense and aerospace. I don't know whether Jayesh is there somewhere. Yeah, so Jayesh, I want to talk about Jayesh because he's one guy who has been working closely for defense. He has in fact got a patent for developing a twin magazine rifle, and it has been evaluated at ADB level. So in fact, he was looking for a place where he could get connected to know more about defense. So we thought about this Kerala Defense Innovation Zone primarily for young innovators, startups who are looking for, to make some access road into defense and aerospace. So that is the entire thing that we wanted to convey over here. And we would like to take 1 or 2 questions if there are any questions from the panelists to the panelists. Yeah, I think I can see a hand being raised.
This is on cybersecurity resilience.
Yeah. Go ahead.
This is on cybersecurity resilience. 3 years back, there was a cyber attack from China in the AIMS, all in the Institute of Medical Sciences. And then after that, the Bombay suburban trains were halted because of the lightning cyber attack from China. So how we can attain cyber resilience? Could you suggest some tips for counter resilience?
Yeah, Prophaze can, I think Lakshmi can attempt this. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically in 2024, there was a major attack launched by China. So they actually tried to infiltrate data of, the names, banking details of armed forces, people in the armed forces. So China is majorly doing a lot of research in this area where they could infiltrate out the data of, their opponent countries. So what we can do to become cyber resilient is to empower ourselves and to make our defenses strong. That is where we will have to secure, the threat landscape is very huge. We have a lot of applications, internal applications, external applications, there are a lot of APIs, there's supply chain networks, so all of this will have to be properly secured, 360 degrees. So that is where we can put in all our might, all the research and development has to go into that area and leverage the existing ecosystem of our own country to actually safeguard and defend against such kind of attacks.
Sir, one more question. What about the hacking of medical sheet data? Because recently in US, a patient died because of somebody hacked his medical sheet.
Yeah, so this is another major thing, wherein, there could be a hijack of any kind of critical system, wherein, be it an IoT system or, intervention in the hospital sector is one of the most lethal because it is actually dealing with lives of human beings. So this is where, the hospitals or the medical infrastructure has to be properly secured with all the necessary, cyber defenses in place. And the most prominent thing is creating awareness. Each and every, because cyber security starts from, the ground zero level, wherein everybody has to own the data security of their organization. And you could also have insider threats. People, maybe clicking on phishing links or, they being victims of social engineering. So this is what, every organization, so when we started off, the level of awareness regarding cybersecurity in India was kind of not that great compared to the post-COVID era. So, when we reached out to hospitals, they were saying everybody has got mobile phones, so why do we have to, they could rather take pictures and just circulate around of all these critical things. But this is where a lot of awareness has to be, circulated and, spread across every domain. So healthcare is one of the most affected because patient data is something that you cannot change. Banking is not that critical because banking data can be, it can be changed regularly, right? So we have to invest properly in securing, our healthcare infrastructure.
Sir, one last question to EDEX. Sir, one question to EDEX. Sir, how technology gaps are figured out?
Yeah, we will take this as the last question because we are running short of time.
Okay,
And
sir. How technology gaps are deciphered in EDEX by innovation in defense excellence?
So as I brought out, primarily the scanning for the technological gap is done by the user level. They are the one who have the requirements worked out both tactically as well as strategically in the present domain, what gaps need to be fulfilled. So the curation of the problem statement starts from there. And when it comes to the iDEX, we do have our own teams working with the services to refine the problem statements and then whether it can be fit into the iDEX scheme. So as brought out by you, we did have a cyber-related challenge which was launched as Disk 9. So you can have a look at the iDEX website. So all the services, that was a thematic-based scheme, primarily related to cyber, was launched and open for solutions from the startups and the innovators. And as I brought out earlier, how the journey then happens is something similar, whether it's cyber or whether it is any other challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the last question that we took on. And it had been a long session. So once again, I would like to thank all the panelists who have been here and patiently, giving your presentations, and to all the audience out here who have been patiently listening. Thank you. Jai Hind.